Hello, and welcome to the Mind Junk Podcast. What is the Mind Junk Podcast? I hear you ask. Obviously, I don't hear you ask because you're not here. So I'm going to tell you what it is. It's basically, I was doing a podcast and my partner, who was amazing at podcasting, got busy. Bit heartbreaking, really, but kind of happens, doesn't it? That's what happens in life. Whatever you have will inevitably one day leave you broken-hearted. So, Christopher O'Driscoll, if you're out there listening to this podcast, you broke my heart. So I've started a new podcast. It's called the Mind Junk Podcast. It's solo. It's going to be me and maybe my dog might make a showing. Probably one of the kids could come in as well. And the podcast is basically just me talking shit, really. And it's going to be based around a popular Reddit page called Shower Thoughts. So, what is Shower Thoughts, I hear you say? Well, Shower Thoughts is basically when you have a profound thought in the shower. And it's nearly always profound. It's never just, nothing. And you see these people and they have their thoughts and then they put them on Reddit and people read them and go, oh, yeah, that's true, that. Nearly always with a good shower thought, everybody who listens is going to say, yep, he's hit the nail on the head there. So let's go straight to it. The first shower thought that I found today, and there does be hundreds of them every day, but this one was, I couldn't believe it was the first one. And I suppose that's why I love shower thoughts so much, because they're nearly all good. They're brilliant. I love them. So the first one was from a gentleman or gentle lady called Clumsicle. That's their Reddit username. I want to credit people because I don't want to be stealing their content without kind of crediting them. So I'll probably send him a message as well saying, oi, mate, I stole your content. But he just put up a musing. I'm going to delve into the depths of the musing and hopefully shed some light on it. So what he said was, his shower thought was, the way that Americans look at Florida Man is the same way the rest of the world looks at Americans, which I thought was very profound. So a lot of you might not understand what a Florida Man is. So I am going to show you the Urban Dictionary definition of Florida Man because it's quite important that you know. I mean, a lot of you will know. So I'm going to read the definition for you. Florida Man. A key word used to describe all the weird news stories about random Floridians committing weird and dumb crimes. Due to the state law regarding freedom of press about the fact that every police or court case must be made public. Most of these weird stories, however, related to white Florida men, the police and drugs. Due to this is why people outside Florida hate Florida. Can also be used as Florida woman. So that description seems fairly true, actually. Although when I was looking through Florida Man's Twitter feed, there is a Twitter account called Florida Man, and it has endless amounts of Florida Man news stories, and they are inevitably very funny. But it doesn't seem to be just white Florida men, actually. It seems to be kind of white, black, Italian, women. There seems to be a lot of women. And we're going to go into my top 5 favourite recent Florida Man moments. But we're going to give you some examples of what a Florida man may or may not do. So these are the examples on Urban Dictionary. Florida man lights off fireworks inside Wendy's restaurant. It could happen. That is the kind of thing you're going to expect from a Floridian man. Florida man caught watching solar eclipse while stealing car. doing both at the same time. One hand on the steering wheel, head out the window, the crystal meth coursing through his veins. He's looking at the solar eclipse. He might then crash his car into a donkey, or, as it's Florida, a crocodile or an alligator. Again, speaking of alligators, another example used by the Urban Dictionary would be Florida man swings 4-foot alligator towards customers. It's happened. I've seen the stories. Although I think a 4-foot alligator seems a little large. I'm 5'7", and I might be stealing an inch. But 4 foot of crocodile? It's a reasonable sized crocodile to be swinging around. Another example could be Florida man attempts to steal car that isn't working until police arrive. So these are all examples of what you could expect from a Floridian man. And the musing on Shower Thoughts was that the way we look at these people is currently the way that the world is looking at America. And it's true. Because I grew up and I remember in the 80s, America was like the bastion of freedom. It was what every country should have aspired to. Land of the free, home of the brave, the world's biggest democracy, unless you include India. And now it's not that, is it? It's like a warmongering, hate-filled country where there's just endless riots and, you know, I'm looking for a word, which is why I'm pulling this face, but there just seems to be a lot of discontentment, massive wealth divide. There's no access to health services and education for the poor. It's kind of turned into a really, really bad Canada. Like everything that Canada does well, America do badly, but they kind of sound the same and look the same. And now on top of this, we've got America, obviously people shooting each other. We've got the Black Lives Movement. We've got anarchists running through and rioting, taking over towns. We've got pensioners on the lawn with ARs and middle-aged female lawyers pointing guns at people as they stand at their gates. And America now has turned into pretty much the laughing stock of the world, but it's still the world's arguably most powerful country. So while we laugh at it, it still holds so much power. And who is at the helm of this power base? None other than Donald Trump. A man I wouldn't let babysit my children. A man I wouldn't trust alone in a room with my wife or my dog, because he's crazy. And the fact that, you know, I don't know how many, maybe 100 million people must have voted for Donald Trump, maybe more. I don't know. If I was prepared for this podcast, I could, of course, have researched this, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the top 5 Florida man stories, and this is representative of how the world looks at America. But these are true stories, my friend. They are true. In 2018, a homeless man breaks into a restaurant. Nothing weird with that, you say. What's wrong with that, Stevie Nicks? What is strange about a homeless man breaking into a restaurant? Well, not only did he break into the restaurant, when he did, he went to the toilets, stripped off naked, cooked some noodles, went to the shed and played some bongos. Yeah, that's what he did. Basically, a guy has gone into a restaurant midnight, gone to the Jacks, stripped off, and then cooked himself some ramen noodles and played the bongos for an hour. Obviously, police arrested him, and yeah, I don't know what he got charged with. Maybe trespassing, maybe stealing bongos. If I was going to rob a restaurant, I wouldn't bring my own noodles. I would see if they had something better in the fridge there. Maybe turn on a deep fat fryer. Maybe cook myself some noodles. But each to their own, I hear you say. Each to their own. We're going to move on to a Florida woman, because equally as crazy, equally as mad is the Floridian woman, who, and a lot of these stories, they seem to be stories of deprivation and drugs, which is probably why I enjoy them so much. So in 2014, a lovely Florida lady gets arrested for shoplifting. Upon searching her, they found that she'd stole some groceries. So they took her to the police station. And I don't know why they do this, but they do it in America. They don't do it in England or Ireland, I think. But they x-rayed her. Wonder what they found, I hear you say. Well, I can tell you what they found. The lady had stolen a cell phone charger and inserted it into a vagina. I'm not sure, and it doesn't say whether the charging lead was hanging down like a tampon string, but it might have been. She might have been using it as a easy access express charging facility where it was like, you know, just plug in your phone and the power of her body, fueled by the meth, could charge phones from her vagina. I don't know about that. She actually got charged with multiple felonies, which may or may not be true, because I'm not really sure what the difference is between a felony and a non-felony. Her name was Jamie Thalgott, and if you look at the screen now, you can see she's a lovely looking young lady who looks not like the type of person who would put a cell phone charger in her vagina. And I don't know when this dates from, but oh no, I do. It's 2014. Chargers are quite big and quite pokey. It's not like putting an apple up your vag. An apple isn't too bad, is it? It's round. You can just pop it in there. Whereas a cell phone charger, it has kind of bits and bobs, doesn't it, poking out. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how she put it up there. I would have to see the cell phone charger that she had to really know how she inserted it. But that is something for you to think about while you're lying in bed. Okay. So this one is a particularly fun story. Floridian man Don Hornak was arrested in 2019 and for trespassing. Police arrive. They find him there. He's got a bag. He's a little bit upset. He might be on drugs. He's in his 70s, which I find quite amusing, because you would think somebody in their 70s wouldn't be trespassing. But when the police confront this man, he pulls out a giant dildo. I don't know what colour the dildo was. It could have been white, it could have been black, could have been pink. But he starts swinging furiously upon these police officers with this giant dildo. I don't know how big the dildo was. It only says giant dildo. It could have been 8 inches, could have been 10. Could have been yay thick. Probably not. That would have been a pencil dildo. Could have been like that. Could have been chunky. You might not have been able to get your whole fucking hand around it. You might have needed 2 hands to grasp it. Again, the story doesn't say whether he grasps it with 2 hands or 1 hand. I can only assume if it was giant and he's elderly, it would take 2 hands to swing a giant dildo. But maybe we'll do a video on that one week. How many hands do you need to swing a giant dildo? So number 4, another example of Floridianness, if that is a word. A woman named Crystal got arrested for possession of crystal meth. You couldn't make it up. You literally couldn't make it up, which is kind of what I find to be fairly incredible. I'm going to put all the pictures on the screens as well, because I'm going to try and run this on YouTube. It might only ever be 1 episode because, you know, I never finish anything, do I? apart from my dinners. You can probably notice I've put on a few pounds if you know me. If you don't know me, then you won't notice that I've put on weight. But, you know, I have put on weight. I'm pretty chubby at the moment. Will you move on to the next Floridian story? So number 5, Florida man Joseph John Musso, 63, got arrested for loitering, prowling, lewd behaviour and resisting arrest. Which sounds pretty normal, doesn't it? Happens. But you say lewd behaviour. What was he doing? What was this nice 63-year-old man doing that got him arrested for lewd behaviour? Well, he was walking around naked with a massive erection and a 2-litre thing of cooking oil. Or a gallon drum. I'm not sure. I think a gallon is only is 4 litres, isn't it? So maybe it was a half gallon of cooking oil and an erection. So I can only surmise that the cooking oil was going to be used to service the said erection because, yeah, I suppose that's what oil can be used for. Although I wouldn't use cooking oil. I've been told other oils. You can buy them in Victoria's Secrets. Other oils can be used for masturbating. So yeah, pretty quick episode really. That's it. That's all I've got for you. We might continue. We might do some more. I don't know. If you like it, let me know and I'll probably do another one. Or I might just bang out 5 or 6 and not tell anyone and then throw them all up at the same time and then you can treat yourself. But these are going to be like 15 minutes, maybe half an hour because, you know, I'm on my own. I know Bill Burr does an hour, but, you know, he's a fucking professional, isn't he? I'm just Stevie Nicks. I can't do an hour just talking shite, can I? And if I did, who would want to listen? I really don't know. Okay, so like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, especially if they're shower thoughts, because we're going to probably be continuing this along this theme of just random nonsense. So this was Mind Junk episode 1. Thanks for watching.